I spent 2,400 hours playing League of Legends. 100 days of my life. Do I regret it? I've been a gamer my entire life, and I can't remember a moment when I stopped being one. I know this is confusing, but hear me out here for a second. Gaming is a medium, an art form where creatives express ideas, stories, and concepts in their head, and we the gamers live in it. In a world so dark outside with corruption, violence, and all sorts of evil, we the gamers formed our own little world, our own little community. And at first it starts off with an RPG, a linear campaign, or simply a simulator, just a way to get away from the world. But even then we somehow feel a sense of separation. See, as humans we are creatures of community, of company. If we deny ourselves from interacting with others, then we in a sense die. So it's in our nature to somehow go out and interact with others, interact with people, and hence somehow, some way we are all drawn to a particular online game. For me, that game was League of Legends. League of Legends was a game, and I believe it still is, a game centered around community. Once upon a time, people would gather as 5 men and try their best to work in cooperation with one another in a tower defense game to beat their opponent in a healthy competitive environment. And yes, there was a bit of banter, there always is. I mean, in every competitive sport there's always some form of banter. But recently I've fallen victim to the dark side of competition. Once upon a time I used to play a game simply to be good at it, have fun, and a bit of bragging rights. But the thing I enjoyed the most was my time spent with the random people I met online. The somewhat satisfying feeling of having a sense of community, how random strangers turn into lifelong friends. But recently I've had a chance to sit down and reflect and ask myself, when did that stop for me? In season 12 of League of Legends, I made a commitment to finish the season in gold. While I was hard stuck Iron 4 and 0 LP, and long story short, after 3,000 plus games I ended the season gold 4. So you'd assume that this season I'd do better, right? Wrong. There was no doubt that League is a hard game, and I know I had improved as a player. But my ego went to my brain. Once upon a time I wouldn't care on how bad my teammates were, I just carry everyone despite of this, or lose and go next and reflect on how I did bad that game. But this season was different. I straight up lose my cool, flame my teammates, and simply call them Elon Musk bots. And of course, sadly but justly, I was demoted from gold to silver, and it hurt. And I realized I was doing something wrong. I decided to look inwards and realize I had actually become toxic. I had left the world and all its problems only to bring it with me into the game. I took an environment meant to be a safe haven and turned it into a toxic battleground for all my problems and issues. At first I could find it funny and have a laugh about it, but it underlined something deeper, something worse. And this channel could low-key be a reflection of it also, because if you've watched most of my videos, 90% of my content is somehow me finding ways to flame League rather than just acknowledge my failings. And yet, even if League is so bad, why do I keep playing it? Could it be an addiction? I wish I could say it was, but sadly it isn't, because I can easily put it down to make content like this for other games. So it can't be a fact that I can't drop it. It's more or less a fact that there is something good about it. There's a reason why I keep going back to it. There has to be more about the toxicity of it. More about it than horrible trolls you meet online, right? See, many fail to understand they aren't esports players. They aren't even content creators for that particular game. So there's no harm in winning or losing. They don't get paid. And though one might try to make an argument that the time spent losing is wasted, but that's because you associate the term fun with winning. I can play a game of Taken and get absolutely stomped online and lose, but I'd still laugh about it. Or get absolutely abolished in a game of Omega Strikers and still have fun, because at the end of the day, I'm doing just that, having fun. There's no harm in wanting to win, but gaming has never been about that. See, my way of thinking changed after playing Dark Souls 1. I played Dark Souls 1 with the aim of beating it from one of my videos, so I could talk about it, and after beating it, I couldn't find satisfaction in the win. The satisfaction of beating Gwyn was simply not there, nor a sense of relief from seeing the Dark Lord ending. But the peace of the game was found in the journey. How I went from cheesing the Bridgeside Demon to fighting out of my freaking mind against Ornstein and Smog, and it hit me that my enjoyment in the game simply came from me having fun on the journey, not the end result, not trying to win. See, League is a game that rewards skill and talent. There's a character for any type of gamer. Do you like to take it slow? There's hyper carries. Do you like to be a big beefy boy in team fights? There's a character for you. There's an identity for every type of player. There's a role for everyone. See, many people fail to understand that carrying isn't about how many kills you get, but it's about how well you can keep a team tilt-proof and motivated to win. There's always bad players, there's always trolls, there's always a bot, but then there's always you. So ask yourself, what type of player are you? Are you going to blame your team or yourself, or even better, are you going to leave the mistake analyzing for after the game, or are you going to do it mid-game? Because in the end, it doesn't matter how you climb or how well you do, it doesn't even matter how low you go, because in the end, how you treat others in game and online is a reflection on who you are, and it might not matter to the guy online, but it'll matter to you, whether it's in League, Apex, Valorant, Dota, or even Elder Scrolls Online. You can't change the world, but you can leave a mark if you become the best version of yourself. And always remember,
there are 3 certainties in life: honor, death, and hangovers.